if you're sitting on the couch and your dog growls at you for moving or for touching them or goes for someone else on the couch that wants to sit down with you, that's when it's like, all right, buddy, you just lost all your furniture rights. Welcome to the new episode of She Gets It Done. Make sure to hit subscribe, comment or like. We hope you love this week's episode. Enjoy!
Hello everyone, welcome to a short episode of She Gets It Done with me, Tony, and Sona. So today we're going to be chatting about furniture and the big topics of that. So there's a lot of mixed opinions on furniture, whether you should allow your dog up, you have people that let the dogs on everything or some that don't let them on at all. I think it's a bit of a personal choice, to be honest.
I think there's a lot of old school stuff about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't let your dog on furniture because then he thinks he's the boss or whatever type of old school stuff is floating about that still.
Definitely. And I think that's where it comes from. And a lot of people think that they have to be in charge and their dog listens to them, which I think that's just a whole myth theory in itself, which you could dive into a long rabbit hole on that, but I don't think it's necessarily relevant to
this one.
Yeah.
So first question, do you let your dog on the furniture, yes or no? Answer in the comments. We would love to know to kind of get an idea of, is your dog allowed on furniture or not?
Yeah.
Is yours allowed?
Yep. They have to be invited up onto furniture more because of the fact that one of my dogs is super energetic, and if she just could jump on furniture wherever she wanted, she would leap on and everything.
Right.
And also because we have lots of guests over, we don't want our dogs jumping up on people, so they're welcome to get up, but we invite them up. And I think the only time that they don't, and that's just because my lab would drool, is when we're eating. Sometimes we eat on the couch, and I wouldn't want my dog right next to me because she loves food and she would just sit there drooling. So I'd rather her sitting on her bed or something on the ground, and then once we're finished dinner, then they can come up. But that's really the only thing. But otherwise, my dog's allowed on the bed, the couch. I'm not worried about that kind of thing. I like my dogs to be around me and being able to snuggle with me and everything.
I'm the same. My dogs, like Matt, wouldn't mind having them in bed sleeping. I can't stand that.
No. Just
because of space. And for some reason, they always want to lie all on and against me. And then Matt has all the space in bed, and Zelda's a giant snorer, and I just cannot do it. Snoring makes me aggressive. So it's like, fuck off! I can't do it. So that's my reason why my dogs can't sleep in the bed. But they do get to have snuggles with us before we go to bed. And when we wake up in the morning, they come and sleep under the blankets for an hour or so. And the furniture is just, the only rule, just like you, is that when we're eating, there's no dogs on the couch.
Yeah.
My dogs can lie, I don't even invite them up. Well, Zelda has more rules at the moment just because she's being a bitch to Lennox. And, whenever he's getting a cuddle, she comes and it's like, my turn.
That's my turn,
Pushes him off.
Yeah.
And then she walks away because she doesn't actually want the cuddle. She just doesn't want him to have the cuddles.
Yeah.
So I'm putting more rules on that. And I think that then nicely segues into rules for furniture.
I would agree because I actually would say so my dogs, if I'm not on the couch, they can hop up whenever, whenever they want. But then sometimes I say I invite them up, but it would depend on how they're going. So if they're kind of being a bit more pushy with boundaries and stuff, I'd probably put a bit more rules around access to furniture and everything. But if everything's going well and they're super cruisy, then I'm pretty laid back. So it kind of just depends on what's going on.
Agreed.
So
I don't like them on the couch when we have guests come over.
Yeah.
So, it depends on the guest.
Yeah.
And generally, the first hour or so, I'm like, nah, you guys are off the furniture. Plus, our couches are a lot smaller now. So there's generally no space for them. But say if you're visiting, initially I don't want Zelda on the couch because she's way too much.
Yeah.
And then as she's like, oh, Tony's here. she's able to just lie on the end of the couch.
Yeah.
I don't want her like this, and
Right in
that's
my
very much what Zelda does. She's like, oh my god, can I touch you all over? It's like, no, you cannot. Get off the couch. And that's the rule.
Yeah.
And Lennox wouldn't do that. He's just like, so.
Yeah. Hi. Come sit down. Come sit right by your leg.
He's like, you're allowed to sit in my spot. He's like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
No, that's my spot.
Yeah. Well, I also think that that's relevant because I have obviously a lot of friends that love dogs, and I have to put a little bit of boundaries with my dogs because they feed off energy really well. So if people are too keen, they're nuts. So I'm the same. Like at first, I try and keep them on the ground and neutral till everything calms down. But also I might have like an older person come and visit, like an elder.
Yeah,
I don't want my dogs jumping up and being like right in their face. But then I have some people that love dogs, so I might be a bit more relaxed and they can come up and have cuddles. So it depends on the person as well.
It's
and your
not
dog
a strict
yeah
rule.
So my dogs need to be adaptable to either situation. Sometimes I'll be really laid back, you can be on the couch, but sometimes I do need you not to be on the furniture. So they need to be able to understand either way.
So that kind of brings us to the one rule I have on furniture for anyone, for any client. It's like, your dog is fine on the furniture unless they're resource guarding the furniture. I don't mind, like, this doesn't count if your dog resource guards their food bowl.
Yeah,
it doesn't. But if you're sitting on the couch and your dog growls at you for moving, or for touching them, or goes for someone else on the couch that wants to sit down with you, that's when it's like, all right, buddy, you just lost all your furniture rights.
Or if you have a multi-dog household and another dog that's neutral just wants to hop up on the couch, and then they're resource guarding against that dog as well. Yeah.
And that's the only time. Like, sometimes I have clients that have dogs that growl at them when they move while they're sleeping. You know, you turn around in your sleep and then the dog is gone and bit their foot or something. And they're like, oh, what do I do? It's like, you get the dog out of the bed because the dog now thinks the bed is his.
Yeah.
And we're not having that.
No.
So then you have to work through your resource guarding issues. And then if you fix them, your dog can probably come back on the furniture again. This is not a permanent, your dog should never sleep with you again. It's just until we fix the root of the problem.
Yeah.
You lost your rights because you couldn't behave.
And also you might find that they're really good for a while, and then that behaviour creeps back in. That rule comes back again immediately. And then once they're understanding again, then the privilege can come back. And that's kind of just that respect and boundaries, right? That you can have access to this, but you also need to be respectful about having these privileges. Like, it's not a right, it's a privilege.
That's right. And if I tell you off, you're off without grumbling.
Yeah.
And that's also polite. If your dog doesn't want to move when you tell him to move, that's when you have to start putting some training in.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's the whole rule for me around furniture. I don't give a shit if your dog is on the furniture. If they're really good and cuddly, you have no issues.
I'm not sure if you're the same, but my other thing is if they're kind of quite in your face all the time, and if I've asked them to lie down and relax and they're still just like right in your face and everything, then you need to go off the couch. That's the thing for me. Like, again, it's a privilege. I'm fine with you coming up and cuddling with me, but sometimes I might be just wanting my own space.
Oh, absolutely.
And my younger dog, she'll sometimes do this thing where she'll kind of creep you out, and she'll kind of just hold her face there for a while, and she'll kind of just see if she can get a reaction. I'm like, no, off you go. Go on, off you go.
I'm the same. That's exactly it. Just like people, right? Like when you're with your partner, there's a time for cuddles and romantic moments, and there's a time when it's not.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't want you to touch me. Leave me alone.
Yeah. And you would just tell them. And you would tell them to leave you alone if you didn't want to.
I'm working. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So if your dog's ignoring you and going, nah, I want to do that, then I'm just like, go away then.
That's it. So I think a really good one for this really short podcast episode is a rule isn't like set in stone.
No.
Like, the rules may vary depending on the location you are or the situation, who's at your house. You can let go of a rule and feel like, oh, actually we need to bring it back in again. I feel like that's a
fun.
problem for a lot of people. They see everything very black and white. It's like there isn't just one answer to this. It could be several things.
Yeah.
Do I allow my dogs on furniture when I take them to my friend's house? Fuck no.
No, because
You know,
I don't expect my friends to want the dogs on the furniture.
So that's a different rule. But the dog, you just like with kids, I guess. You don't let your kids climb on your friend. Well, maybe some people do, but
Yeah.
polite manners would show that you don't go and climb on your friend's fridge.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said fridge.
I don't know why you said fridge.
I was looking at the
bench top or something.
That's it.
But I think that's the whole thing of making your dog adaptable, and then having the rules around it so that they understand that it's not always access all the time. Like that there are rules and boundaries. And I think it's completely dependent on the situation. It depends on your dog's personality as well. Are they naturally quite pushy all the time with everything and rules and boundaries that you kind of probably should have a few things that are just yours? Or are they pretty relaxed? They're easygoing, so, it doesn't really matter. But then, like you said, it can change. So sometimes our dogs are really well behaved, but they're not perfect. Yeah. They're animals. They make mistakes. But you also don't want them to get into a habit of not listening, that you might have to ever so often take privileges away. Yeah, and then they get reinstated, and then they go, and then they come. Like, it's not always one or the other.
Yeah, agreed. And then it's personal preference.
Yeah.
Some people don't want their dog on the couch because it ruins the couch. Fair enough.
Yeah. You give them a bed somewhere else to sleep. And that's another thing. Don't feel bad if you're one of those people that don't want your dog up on lots of furniture.
Dog owner. Yeah. You just have different rules.
Yeah.
It's just
you're making time to give your dog affection outside of being, like, you can give your dog affection without them always being right beside you.
Didn't Larry talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he doesn't allow
his dogs up on furniture.
So he sits down on the ground with them.
Yeah.
And has a whole cuddle session whilst you, fill it in. Fill it in how it works for you and your dogs.
And his big thing is he just doesn't want hair on his furniture and everything.
That's right, yeah.
Because he has lots of dogs all the time.
That's right.
But he also has the thing that he invites dogs into his space as well. So if they're just coming up into his space willy-nilly, he'll send them away. Yeah. He might wait a minute, but then he'll call them back. So he does all of those things as well.
Pushy behavior.
Yeah.
Super important. So I think that concludes.
Yep.
Can dogs go on furniture or not? Yes, unless they resource guard.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the answer, isn't
it? And as long as they're being respectful while being on the couch or furniture as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Hope you liked this episode. Comment below if your dog is allowed on the furniture or not. And we'll see you next time.